Good day, students! In the subject Professional Education 3 with a course title The Teaching Profession. In the chapter 1, we are going to tackle about you, the teacher, as a person in society. And you will made realize the significant role that you will play in society. This is perhaps one reason why many at times the teachers blame for the many ills in society. You will also come to realize the demands it will exact from you, for much is expected of you. The teacher, it is therefore no joke to become one. At the end of this chapter, you are expected to first summarize at least 7 philosophies of education and draw their implications to teaching learning. Second, formulate your own philosophy of education. Next, discuss and internalize the foundation principles of morality. Accept continuing values formation as an integral part of your personal and professional life. Clarify if you truly value teaching. And last, explain teaching as a vocation, mission, and profession. In this lesson 1, the philosophical heritage, which is the study of ideas about knowledge, truth, the nature and meaningful life. Set of ideas about how to do something or how to live. It states that we are years to reach a philosophical heritage. Passed on to us are a number of philosophies of various thinkers who lived before us. They occupied themselves searching for answers to questions about human existence. These essential questions come in different versions. What is life? Who am I? Why I am here? Or what am I here? Or maybe, what am I living for? What is reality? Is the universe real? What is good to do? How I live life meaningfully, and the like. In the school context, these existential questions are: why do I teach? What should I teach? How should I teach? What is the nature of the learner, and how do we learn? Before we go to the 7th philosophy of education, let's answer the question, what is philosophy of education? Well, it is a statement or set of statements that identifies and clarifies the beliefs, values, and understanding of an individual or group with respect to education. The 7 philosophies of education are Essentialism, Progressivism, Perennialism, Existentialism, Behaviorism, Linguistic Philosophy, and Constructivism. What is Essentialism? It is an educational philosophy that strives to ensure that the students acquire a common core of knowledge in a systematic and disciplined way. In Essentialism, why teach? This philosophy contends that teachers teach for the learners to acquire basic knowledge, skills, and values. Teachers teach not to radically reshape society but rather to transmit the traditional moral values and intellectual knowledge that the student need to become model citizens. What to teach in Essentialism? First is academically rigorous. Second, emphasis on academic content, which is a fundamental arts, reading, writing, arithmetic, and right conduct, are essential to the acquisitions of higher or more complex skills needed in preparation for adult life. Next, the teachers and administrator decide what is most important for the students to learn and place a little emphasis on the students' interest, particularly when they divert time and attention from the academic curriculum. How to teach in Essentialism? It emphasizes on the mastery of subject matter. They are expected to be intellectual and moral models of their students. They are fountain of information and paragon of virtue. The teachers rely heavily on the use of prescribed textbook, cover as much academic content as possible like the lecture method, stress on memorization and discipline. In progressivism, progressivists believe that education should focus on the whole child rather than on the content or the teacher. This educational philosophy stresses the students should test ideas by active experimentation. Learning is rooted in the question of learners that arise through experiencing. Why teach in progressivism? Progressivist teachers teach to develop learners into becoming enlightened and intelligent citizens of democratic society. This group of teachers teach learners so they may live life fully now, not to prepare them for adult life. What to teach in progressivism? The progressivist is identified with need-based and relevant curriculum. This is a curriculum that responds to student needs and that relates to student personal lives and experiences. Accept the impermanence of life and inevitability of change. Everything else change. Change is the only thing that does not change. Progressivist teachers are more concerned with teaching the learners the skills to cope with change. They are focused on the skills or processes in gathering and evaluating information and in problem solving. How to teach in progressivism? Progressivist teachers employ experiential methods and believe in learning by doing. Book learning is no substitute for actual learning. Heavily rely on problem-solving method. Hand-on minds on hearts-on. Teaching methodology. In perennialism, it is also infrequently referred to as universal curriculum is a normative educational philosophy wherein perennialists believe that one should teach the things that are everlasting importance to all individuals everywhere. Why teach in perennialism? It developed the student's rational and moral powers. According to Aristotle, if we neglect the student reasoning skills, we deprive them of the ability to use their higher faculties to control their passion and appetite. What to teach in perennialism? The perennialist curriculum is a universal one on the view that all human beings possess the same essential one. It is not a specialist curriculum but rather a general one. Great books of ancient and medieval, as well as a modern times, are a repository of knowledge and wisdom. How to teach in perennialism? Perennialist teachers are centered around teacher. Teachers do not allow the students' interest or experience to substantially dictate what they teach. The existentialism. In education, it is teaching and learning that focuses on the students' freedom and agency to choose their future. Why teach in existentialism? The main concern of the existentialist is to help students understand and appreciate themselves as a unique individual who accept complete responsibility for their thoughts, feelings, and actions. Existence precedes essence. The existentialist teacher's role is to help students define their own essence by exposing them to various paths they take in life and by creating an environment in which they freely choose their own preferred way. It demands education of the whole person, not just the mind. What to teach in existentialism? Students are given a wide variety of options from which to choose. Students are afforded great latitude in their choice of subject matter. The humanities are given tremendous emphasis to provide students with vicarious experiences that will help unleash their own creativity and self-expression. How to teach in existentialism? Existentialist method focus on the individual. Learning is self-placed, self-directed. It includes a great deal of individual contact with the teacher who relates to each student openly and honestly. To help students know themselves and their place in society, teachers employ values clarification strategy, non-judgmental, and take care not to impose their values on their students since values are personal. Behaviorism is a branch of psychology that, when applied to classroom setting, focuses on conditioning student behavior in various types of behavior enforcement and consequences called operant conditioning. What to teach in behaviorism? Behaviorist schools are concerned with the modification and shaping of students' behavior by providing for a favorable environment. Since they believe that they are product of environment, they are after who exhibit desirable behavior in society. What to teach in behaviorism? Behaviorist looks at people and other animals as a complex combination of matter that act only in response to internally or externally generated physically stimuli. Behaviorist teacher teach students to respond favorably to various stimuli in the environment. How to teach in behaviorism? Behaviorist teachers ought to arrange environment conditions so that students can make the response to stimuli. Teachers ought to make the stimuli clear and interesting to capture and hold the learner's attention. They ought to provide appropriate incentives to reinforce positive and weaken or eliminate negative ones. Linguistic philosophy is the view that many or all philosophical problems can be solved or dissolved by paying closer attention to language, either by reforming language or by understanding the everyday language that are presently used better. Why teach in linguistic philosophy? To develop the communication skills of the learner, because the ability to articulate, to voice out the meaning and values of things that one obtains from his or her experience of life in the world is the very essence of man. Teachers teach to develop in the learner the skill to send messages clearly and receive messages correctly. What to teach in linguistic philosophy? Learners should be taught to communicate clearly, how to send clear, concise messages, and how to receive and correctly understand the message sent. Communication takes place in three ways: verbal, nonverbal, and paraverbal. How to teach in linguistic philosophy? The best way to teach language and communication is the experiential way. Make them experience sending and receiving messages through verbal, nonverbal, and paraverbal manner. The teacher should make the classroom a place for interplay of minds and hearts. The teacher facilitates dialogue among learners and between him or her and his or her students, because in the exchange of words there is also exchange of ideas. Constructivism is a theory in education that recognizes learners construct new understanding and knowledge, integrating with what they already know. This includes knowledge gained prior to entering school. Why teach in constructivism? Constructivists seek to develop intrinsically motivated and independent learners adequately equipped with learning skills for them to be able to construct knowledge and make meaning. What to teach in constructivism? The learners are taught to learn. They are taught learning processes and skills such as searching, critiquing, and evaluating information, relating these pieces of information, reflecting on the same, making meaning out of them, drawing insight, posing questions, researching and constructing new knowledge out of these bits of information learned. How to teach in constructivism? It provides students with data or experiences that allow them to hypothesize, predict, manipulate objects, pose questions, research, investigate, imagine, and invent. It promotes the dialogical exchange of ideas among learners and between teachers and learners. The teacher's role is to facilitate this process. We have a rich philosophical heritage, but only 7 philosophies were discussed here, which are the essentialism, progressivism, perennialism, existentialism, behaviorism, linguistic philosophy, and constructivism. The rest are assigned to you as research work. The seven philosophies differ in concept of the learners and values. And why do we teach, which is the objective? What should be taught, the teaching strategies. However, there exist also some similarities among the philosophies. This you will see more as you proceed to the activities. In lesson 2, we are going to tackle about formulating your philosophy of education. Your philosophy of education is the window to the world and compass in life. It may be good to put that philosophy of education in writing. You surely have one, just everybody has, only sometimes it is not well articulated. Your philosophy of education is reflected in your dealings with students, colleagues, parents, and administrators. Your attitudes towards problems and life as a whole has underlying philosophy. In this lesson, you will articulate your thoughts on how you perceive the learner, on what are the right values, on what and on how you must therefore teach. If you articulate your philosophy of education, you will find yourself more consistent in your dealing with other people, in your actions and decisions. What does a philosophy of education contain or include? It includes your concept about the human person, the learner in a particular, and the educated person. Next is what is true and good, and therefore must be taught. And last, how a learner must be taught in order to come close to the truth. In the last part of this module is the example of philosophy of education of a grade school teacher. My philosophy of education as a grade school teacher. I believe that every child has a natural interest in learning and is capable of learning, is an embodied spirit, can be influenced but not totally by his or her environment, is unique, comparing a child to other children has no basis, does not have an empty mind, rather is full of ideas, and it is my task to draw out these ideas. I believe that there are unchanging values in changing times, and this must be passed on every child by the modeling, value inculcation, and value integration in my lesson. I believe that my task as a teacher is to facilitate the development of every child to the optimum by reaching out to all children without bias and prejudice toward the least of the children, making every child feel good and confident about himself or herself through his or her experiences of success in the classroom, helping every child master the basic skills of reading, communicating in oral and written form, arithmetic, and computer skills. Teaching my subject matter with mastery so that every child will use his or her basic skills to continue acquiring knowledge, skills, and values for him or her to go beyond basic literacy and basic numeracy, inculcating or integrating the unchanging values of respect, honesty, love, and care for others regardless of race, ethnicity, nationality, appearance, and economic status in my lesson. Consistency practicing these values to serve as model for every child. Strengthening the value formation of every child through hands-on, minds-on, hearts-on experiences inside and outside the classroom. So that would be all. Thank you.